Alright guys, so this should be episode 2 or part 2 of me doing over the RX7. So you'll see in front of me, I've painted the dust shield all round actually. I've done all 4 of them to show what the finish is like. So I'm pretty happy in general with the wheel arches now, where they've cleaned up all the paint with the gravel protection on it. It's actually the Mazda finish white. Plastics have been off and been cleaned as best they can be. I've replaced any of these plastic fixings with a box of new ones I actually got off the internet. There's like 600 assorted ones, so that's worked out all right. Happy with how the dust guards come up. I'll show you the back. So yeah, pretty happy with that. And again, the whole arch liner spray came out really nice. The plastic all off, and you can see the exhaust is all nice and shiny down there. So yeah, pretty happy. So what I did next, if I come underneath the car, is I drained the diff oil and the gearbox oil so far. So with this one, actually caught me out a little bit. The bottom, because the way my jack is, it's a bit of an issue to get to. But the bottom's a 24mm spanner, so I've got one fitted on there. Just knocked it loose. Before I drained it, I just checked that I could get access to the filling hole. And it was a bit tricky, but actually it didn't fit. And I had a 22 and a 24, and they, well, it's a 23. Basically, that's a long story short. So make sure you've got the right spanner and you can actually crack the top before you empty the bottom. Otherwise, you're sitting there with a drained diff, no way to get it back in. So I actually had to get a different spanner. I've got a deep 23, like a deep ring spanner, so that was worked out fine. Drained it all out, and as you see, 1.5 litres came out of there. I just drained it on a piece of bent cardboard into my drip pan. Okay guys, so I've put the bottom plug back in, it's been cleaned up. Wash is still good on there. I've got 2 bottles of oil there, did a bit of research online, and unanimously it seems to be that 75/90 is it's fine. It's the same one I'm putting in the gearbox. So I've got 2 litres there, I need 1.5. I've got a little oil pump, no, sort of transfer pump, picks up from the bottom one and puts out the top one. So I shall perch a bottle in front of me, pick it up from there, poke the pipe into the top, pump the full litre in first, and then I'll do just under a half and make sure I can feel with my finger. It's just getting to that level. As far as I'm aware, it's just put it in until it's level with the inside of the fill hole. So I don't think I've got enough hands to be able to film that while I'm doing it, but I shall see what I can manage. Okay, well, not enough hands to pump it, but you'll see the bottom one spirals around and goes into the oil. The top one's going up over that little brace and into the fill, and I'm just pumping the handle. If I had 3 arms, I'd show you. I'm surprised to see how quick that was. Didn't feel like many pumps at all, and it's drawing air, so that bottle is now basically empty. I'll do half the next one, and I'll let this one drain, so I'll make sure I get all of it out. So I'm not sure if it's just over 1.5 litres, but I've got to the point where it was just about to come over the top, and now it's levelling out in there. You can see there's a fine dribble which is going down onto my absorbent mat. So what I'll do is I'll leave it till it completely finishes dripping, which means it's totally level at the bottom of the fill hole, which is where it's supposed to be. So yeah, that's actually surprisingly easy. That was quite nice. So now I'll go down the front and do the same with the gearbox. Right, okay, so I've moved down to the gearbox. You'll see underneath, there's actually 4 plugs in the gearbox, which can be confusing. So you've got the main drain, which I took out and drained everything down. You've got an Allen key plug here, which is a T55 Torx fitting. It's not really got a use. This is the fill, and this is the secondary drain, which is actually definitely worth opening. Well, you have to open it really, but I think I got about 200 mils extra out of that. So just before I put this is the plug that came out, the little neodymium magnet on top of it. Before I put that back in and do it up to the Torx settings, which I've got, but I can't remember offhand, so I can tell you in a minute. But yeah, what I was trying to say is I took this one out because my fill plug is in there like it's been welded, and I'm really concerned about hammering on it too hard, especially the position I'm underneath the car. And I just thought, do you know what, I know it's 2.5 litres, so I'll use this one, which is just a little bit higher up. So obviously I can't fill it to the level where it's level because it'd be more. So I'll just measure out 2.5 litres, pump it in and use this secondary, which with how easy that came out and how clean it was, I've got a feeling that that's how it's been done for a while. So I'm not quite sure when this one's last came out. I'm not going to give up though. I'll put some WD on it and see if I can free it up, and I'll keep working on it to see if I can make it usable, because obviously I don't want it stuck. So yeah, that's what I'm doing now. So I'll put the bottom secondary drain plug back in, torque them up, and then I'll pump in the same method as I did on the diff, measured to 2.5 litres. Right guys, so you'll see there that that's the secondary drain plug that I've used to put back in. I put some sealant tape around it. I've put some more WD on that one. Just leave it for a while. So that's both the bottom drain plugs in, and that's the gearbox done. So the torque settings for the main drain plug, which is that one, is between 40 and 58 Newton meters. The secondary one, that one, is between 21 and 31. And then we've got the filler plug, 25, so that's this one if I was going to use it, between 25 and 39 Newton meters. And then the plate, the cover plate, which is this one here, which goes over, you'll see these things up to the back of the subframe there. They're between 8 and 10.5 Newton meters. So we're going to get that back on next. And the diff, because we didn't talk about the diff earlier, that's 39 to 54 Newton meters. So it's quite a wide range, but there you go, that's from the manual anyway. Cool, so I'm going to put the cover plate back on now, and that's the gearbox done. Right, so I've just taken off this guard plate, which sits over here just to the driver's side of the exhaust, and covers the, fits over there and just covers, basically this side has got a plastic one there, and this has got the aluminium formed sort of metal one. So I'm thinking I'm going to clean it up, and probably give it an etch primer and give it the same black anti-gravel sort of stone guard paint, and I'm going to do the same with this one, which is basically the gearbox mount. I think it look nice underneath, because you've got the front tray is black plastic, the sub mount is black, the fuel and brake line cover all the way down the side is black, that one plastic is black, the arch liners have been done, the back of the dust guards I'll do as well. So I'm thinking I'll clean up the underneath of the car a bit more. I just don't want to get all the mess on me at the moment. So yeah, I think I'll give it a nice clean up, because it's slightly corroded. It's not exactly in bad condition. It's not deformed, which is great. So it's not really had much in the way of beating, or in fact it looks like it's had none. And I gave this a little bit of a scour to see how it would come up. So it will come up nice, but yeah, I think I'll do that, clean it up. I'll show you in a minute when I've cleaned it, and then we'll etch prime it. Right, so there's an update. I've taken that guard off, the guard plate, aluminium plate, and there's the one that covers the gearbox. This one I cleaned up before, gave it a good hard sort of emery cloth Scotch paper clean, which is right, it's come up nice, happy with it. This one is a bit more pitted. This is the underneath, like the inside of it. It's all smooth, it's been done with, it's a new Scotch paper that I've got. It's not quite as coarse, so that's why it hasn't got into the aluminium quite as much. I tried a wire brush, but that was actually a little bit too coarse. I didn't want to gouge it too badly. So they've all had an acetone wipe down. I'm now just going to give it an etch primer over, let it dry off, flip it over, give the whole thing a full etch primer, and then I'll give it a coat with that black anti-gravel stuff. Nice and uniform and nice and protected. And there you go. It's about 3 minutes of spraying. So there's a coat over both of them. It comes out in like quite a flat spread, so puffs to get a decent cover one direction, then went in the other direction, just to make sure I don't miss too much in and around. Yeah, it's fine. And then obviously once I've finished with it, turn the can upside down and spray it just over it, just to get what's left in the nozzle out, so that it doesn't dry up. And yeah, be alright. I'll let that go off, and then flip them and do the other side. Okay, so now you see that the primer, the etch primer on these is now completely dry, and I'm going to spray them with black, which we've used anything else, the anti-gravel, and yeah, see how the finish comes out. Okay, so you can now see that I finally got my paint arrived. I was needing a couple more cans. So these are the two under car plates. This is one that goes over the gearbox. That's where the gearbox drain plug is. And that is the rear driver's side, so rear right. So what I'll do now is put them back into place, and then I'll take a picture or do a quick video of how they look under the, that's everything under the car back on. It's just waiting now for the discs and calipers to come back. And there you go, there's the back one, which I think looks really quite cool now in the black. And if we come forward, there is the gearbox plate cover. So I think it looks pretty smart. Obviously it goes, everything else is black underneath the car. Just get a good angle without banging my head. So you've got, looking at the rear, you've got the plastic one that side, that's the passenger side. And you've got the black aluminium painting on that side.